Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now then, there's no guitar lesson or music theory or anything like that today because it's Friday, and who wants homework on a Friday? This is basically another one of these videos where I just blether on about music for a little while, and basically it all stems from this. We recently got one of those Now TV sticks. If you're outside the UK, you might not know what these are, but it's basically a little dongle that plugs into the back of your TV set, and it gives you about 1 billion more channels of repeats to watch. It was the missus's idea. And you know, it's fine for what it is, but what I really kind of got excited about was discovering the fact that it's got a load of radio channels on there as well, you know, and you can search by genre. So naturally, I typed in classic rock and came up with a load of classic rock stations and started listening. And it just seems to be there's an unwritten rule, really, that the minute you tune into any classic rock radio station, within 3 songs, you're going to hear some Def Leppard. Now, I'm sure there are people out there who like Def Leppard, but I'm not one of them. Anyway, that's not what I want to get into. The point is that all of these radio stations, they all seem to have the same playlist. You know, you're going to hear the usual suspects. You're going to hear, you know, probably Animal by Def Leppard or, you know, something of that ilk. You're going to hear Smoke on the Water. You're going to hear Paranoid. You're going to hear American Woman by the Guess Who, etc., etc. And it just seems to me that the official nostalgia industry's version of what classic rock is missing a lot of very good songs, I think, and great tracks. And I'm going to try and redress the balance here with 6 tunes that I think deserve a bit more of a wider audience than they already get. I don't know why these songs seem to get ignored. Some of them were quite big sellers, and some of them got quite a lot of airplay when they were current, but just seem to not get any attention these days. So, as I say, I'm going to try and redress the balance. And we're going to start with this one.
From Small Things, Big Things Come.
Yes, From Small Things, Big Things Come by Dave Edmunds. This came out, I think, in about 81 or 82-ish, early 80s anyway, let's say, and it was my first exposure to Bruce Springsteen. I kind of knew the name Bruce Springsteen because it was, you know, a name that was mentioned in the music press that I used to read back then, but never really could honestly say that I think I'd heard any Springsteen up to that point. But, you know, the songwriting credit on this single, From Small Things, Big Things Come, said B. Springsteen, so I assumed it wasn't Bob Springsteen. I first heard the song from this performance. Well, not this performance, I'm not going to show you it now because that'll get this video demonetized, but the link is in the description below. It was played live on an early 80s late night TV show called OTT. Anybody else remember that? It was like an adult version of Tiz was. And Dave Edmunds and his band, who incidentally, that was also Shakin' Stevens' band that appeared on all of his records as well. They did a cracking version of this Bruce Springsteen song, so check it out and you won't be disappointed.
Sleeping with the Enemy.
Okay, yes, Sleeping with the Enemy. This is from the first solo album of Roger Hodgson, who, if you don't know who he is, he was basically one half of Supertramp. I think this came out in 84 or 85. It was certainly when I was at college, and it was just one of the cassettes that was always getting played on the ghetto blaster in the dorm where I lived, and it just brings back happy memories of that time. And it sounds like a Supertramp record because obviously Roger Hodgson's voice is very distinctive, and, you know, given that most Supertramp songs featured his voice quite prominently, this sounds like a Supertramp song, but it's just a fantastic catchy tune that brings back happy memories for me, and I think it's a great song and deserves a wider audience, hence why I'm talking about it here. So check it out, and the whole album actually I think is called In the Eye of the Storm, the album that it comes from, and this is the sort of track one, side one. See, I still think of albums as having side one and side two, even after all these years. It's the first track on the album, and it's a brilliant opener for the album, and it just takes me back to my happy college days, and hopefully it's you'll get something from it as well. It doesn't sound, particularly dated. How many songs from the early to mid 80s, you listen to them and you just think, that sounds so cheesy and dated. This still, I think, my opinion, sounds quite fresh and invigorating. And check it out, see what you think. On to the next one.
Never Be Lonely.
Yeah, Never Be Lonely. Who's this by then? Well, this is about as modern as my musical tastes get. This came out about 15 years ago, I think, when I still used to listen to Radio 2, only because Terry Wogan used to be on there, and this used to get a bit of airplay on his show. Excuse me. And talking about the previous song, which was by an ex-member of Supertramp, when I first heard this, I thought, have Supertramp got back together? Because it really does have that vibe of, like a sophisticated but catchy, well-written, high-quality pop song, and it's got a fantastic guitar solo in it as well. And as soon as I found out it was by a band called The Feeling, I thought, these guys are bound for world domination, they're going to be huge. And I suppose that was a kiss of death for them, really, wasn't it? With me kind of thinking that of them. So, yeah, I don't know if they're still around. Perhaps they are. Anybody know what they're up to nowadays? The album that this came from, 12 Stops and Home, is on a regular feature on my playlists when I'm on the rare occasions when I get the chance to sit down and listen to music for the fun of it. So yeah, check it out yourself. But this is, I think, one of the strongest tracks off the album, Never Be Lonely. See if you agree with me. See if you think it sounds very, very Supertrampish. Anyway, on to the next one.
Rockin' All Over the World.
And I know what you're thinking. Rockin' All Over the World? Well, everybody knows that song, don't they? Status Quo. I'm not talking about the Status Quo version. Not many people realise that Quo's hit, Rockin' All Over the World, was in fact a cover version of a John Fogerty song, he of CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival fame. I'm not going to be incredibly gauche about this and say, oh well, yes, I prefer the original version, because I love the Quo version of this song. Just hearing that, the first song that was played at Live Aid, that immediately takes me back to my halcyon days of being at college, and I just remember that day vividly as well. And people talk about Queen's performance at Live Aid. Yeah, stellar, but Quo did a pretty good job as well, and they opened the show with this song. But I'm not talking about the Quo version, I'm talking about the John Fogerty version. It's a lot more raucous and raw, and it's got a much kind of earthier, grittier feel about it, and it's got some, John Fogerty's vocals on it are just, you wonder if he's been gargling with gravel before he sang this song, because he's got that real kind of raunchy country blues rock kind of rasp to his voice, and very, very good it is too. So yeah, if you don't know the original of this song, just check it out for curiosity's sake. It is worth a listen. Anyway, next one.
Sometimes I feel like screaming.
Okay, this one's a bit controversial. Well, not the song isn't. Sometimes I feel like screaming. It's by Deep Purple. What's controversial about it is the fact that I think it's easily in the top 5 of Deep Purple songs ever played. And yes, I did just say that, and yes, I know that Ritchie Blackmore wasn't in Deep Purple when this song was recorded. I really don't get Ritchie Blackmore. It's maybe you had to be there and kind of experience it firsthand, in the early 70s. I was alive in the early 70s, but when you're kind of 5 or 6 years old, you're not really listening to much Deep Purple, are you? You know, you're listening to Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep and stuff like that. And what else? And, you know, Barry Blue, Dancing on a Saturday Night. I seem to remember that. But anyway, I never really got Blackmore, to be honest, and I just think Deep Purple are a far better band. Now, I've just listened to their most recent album, Infinity or Infinite or something it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a fantastic album. It's easily as good as Machine Head, I think. And just the whole Steve Morse era of Deep Purple is just incredible, I think. Take a listen to the album that I've linked to down below. Well, the track, the version of this track. It's from a 1996 live album from the Perpendicular Tour, Live at the Olympia it's called, and the version of Sometimes I Feel Like Screaming that comes from that album, I think, is just the definitive version of this song. Steve Morse is jaw-dropping on this version of the song. He's a superb guitarist in any account, but he really is having a good night when he played this song here. And just the way the song modulates and changes, you know, kind of tonality and changes in feel from the tub thumping shouty chorus into the more gentle, achingly beautiful melody of the verses is just, it's fantastic. I like the song, as you can probably tell, and I think this song and this era of Deep Purple are, well, basically the best that they've ever been, to be honest with you. And that is where I'm expecting to get some hate mail for saying that. Anyway, let's have a look at the final one on the list.
Run for Home.
Lindisfarne, Run for Home. Again, this is another one that's personal to me. Lindisfarne are from my part of the world, well, just up the road a little bit, Tyneside rather than Teesside. But if there was ever any proof needed that this band should have been an absolutely global force in that kind of 70s kind of country-tinged singer-songwriter rock, then listen to this track. This sounds like it could be an Eagles song. Listen to the vocal harmonies. And, you know, it's a simple song. It's just like C, A minor, F, G or something like that. But that does, you know, it doesn't have to be a complex song to be a great song. And just the wistfulness of the lyrics and the beautiful arrangement. I think it was Gus Dudgeon who produced the track. Master producer, who's worked with Bowie and loads of people, and he knew how to make a record sound good, and by Jiminy did he make this record sound good. Run for Home by Lindisfarne. It just reminds me again of happy childhood days, and it's well worth checking out, and see if you agree with me that it does have a bit of an Eaglesy tinge to it. So there you go, 6 of the best, 6 songs that I think deserve more of a hearing on the average classic rock radio station playlist, and it mystifies me why they don't get more attention. Hopefully I've done my little bit to remedy that today. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. I will just remind you, of course, as usual, that I have a couple of courses on sale on my website, Making the Modes Easy, an easy introduction into playing mode-based lead guitar, plain English explanations, jam tracks, licks, tabs, everything like that. Or if you want something a little bit more entry-level, play lead guitar the easy way, again, same sort of approach, plain English, easy, accessible lesson on getting into playing lead guitar with loads of licks to learn, tabs, guitar solos, jam tracks to play along with. They're both on sale from the URL you can see on screen there, or you can search for me, John Robson, on the Udemy platform. I'll put a link to the URL in the description box along with all of the other links, and check them out. They're very, very heavily discounted at the moment on Udemy, so I'm told, so grab yourself a bargain while they're on sale. Or if you prefer some tailored one-to-one guitar tuition, then give me a shout via the details at the end of this video. If you live on Teesside in the northeast of England, then you can come along for a face-to-face lesson in this very room. or wherever else you are in the world, you can have a lesson via Skype. And whichever way you do it, your first lesson is, of course, free. So what have you got to lose? And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the subscribe, notification bell, give me a like, all the rest of it, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time around. Bye for now, folks.